I'm going to read The sun stopped shining from the Jesus Storybook Bible. So you're a king, aren't you? The Roman soldiers jeered. Then you'll need a crown and a robe. They gave Jesus a crown made of thorns and put a purple robe on him. They pretended to bow down on him. Your Majesty, they said. Then they whisked him and spat on him. They didn't understand that he was the Prince of Life, the King of heaven and earth who had come to rescue them. The soldiers made a sign. The soldiers made him a sign, our king, and nailed it to a wooden cross. They walked up a hill outside the city. Jesus carried the cross on his back. Jesus had never done anything wrong, but they were going to kill him the way criminals were killed. They nailed Jesus to the cross. Forgive them, Father. Jesus gasped. They don't understand what they're doing. You say that you've come to rescue us? People shouted, but you can't even rescue yourself. But they were wrong. Jesus could have rescued himself, and legions of angels would have flown to his side if he called. If you were really a son of God, you could just climb down off that cross, they said. And of course, they were right. Jesus could have just climbed down. Actually, he could have just said a word. He just have said a word and made it stop, and made it all stop when he healed that little girl, when he stilled the storm and fed 5,000 people. But Jesus stayed. You see, they didn't understand. It wasn't the nails that kept Jesus there, it was the love. Papa, Jesus cried, finally searching the sky. Papa, where are you? Don't leave me. And for the first time and the last, when he spoke, nothing happened. Just a horrible, endless sense. God didn't answer. He turned away from his boy. Tears rolled down Jesus' face. The face of the one who would wipe away every tear from every eye. Even through it was maybe the dreadful darkness covered the face of the world. The sun could not shine. The earth trembled and quaked. The great mountains shook. Rocks split in two until it seemed itself would tear apart. The full force of the storm of God's fierce anger at sins was coming down on his own son. Instead of his people. It was the only way God could destroy sin and not destroy his children, whose hearts were filled with sin. Then Jesus shouted out in a loud voice, "It is finished," and it was. He had done it. Jesus had rescued the whole world. "Father," Jesus cried, "I give you my life." And with a great sigh, he let himself die. Strange clouds and shadows filled the sky, purple, orange, black, and like bruises. Like a bruise. Jesus' friends gladly cried Jesus. They laid him in a new tomb caved with carved out of rock. How could Jesus die? What had gone wrong? What did it mean? They didn't know anything more, except they did know their hearts were breaking. "That's the end of Jesus," the leaders said. But just to make sure, they sent strong soldiers to guard the tomb. They held a huge stone in front of the door to the tomb, so that no one could get in or out. God's wonderful surprise. Jesus' friends were sad. They would never see their best friend again. How could this happen? Wasn't Jesus the rescuer, the king God had promised? Wasn't it supposed to end like this? It wasn't supposed to end like this. Yes, but whatever said anything about the end? Jesus, just before sunrise on a thrill day, God sent an earthquake and made an angel from heaven. When the earthquake and the angel from heaven went down, guard the cave, saw the angel. They fell down with fright. When the guards saw the angel, they fell down with fright. The angel rolled the huge stone away. It sat on the top of it and waited. At the first glimmer of dawn, Mary Magdalene and other women headed to the tomb. They wished Jesus' body. The early morning set through the ends olive trees drooping from the glittering on the leaves. The grass, little tears everywhere. The friends walked quietly along the hilly path through the olive groves until they reached the tomb, and immediately nothing seemed odd. It was open wide. They peered through the opening into the dark tomb. But wait, Jesus' body was gone. And something else shining man was there with clothes made from lightning. Don't be scared, the angel said. But they couldn't help it. They screamed anyway. The angel asked them, "What are you doing here?" Said, "This is the tab. And tabs are for dead people."
The tomb.
The tomb. And the tabs are for dead people. Then the woman couldn't speak. "Jesus isn't dead anymore," he said. "He's alive again." Their hearts leaped, and the angel laughed with such gladness and felt for a moment as if they had woken from a nightmare. The other woman rushed home, but Mary stayed behind. How could it be true? Jesus was definitely dead. How could he be alive? Then Mary heard someone else in the garden. Perhaps in the garden, she thought. He'll know where Jesus' body is. I don't know where Jesus is, Mary. Mary and can't find him. But it was all right. Jesus knew where she was, and he had found her. Mary. Only one person could said her name like that. It could heard her heart thumping. She turned around and she could see just make out of a finger. She was shaded her eyes to see and thought she was dreaming. But she wasn't dreaming. She was seeing. Jesus, Mary fell to the ground. Suddenly tears filled her eyes, and great tops shook her whole body, and all she wanted. You'll be able to hold on to me later, Mary, Jesus said gently, and always be close to me. But now, go and tell others that I'm alive. Mary ran and ran all the way to the city. She had never ran so fast or so far in all her life. She felt she could have run forever. She didn't even feel like her feet were touching the ground. The sun seemed to be dancing in the gleam of the branches across the sky. Dancing with her and the shining bright than she could ever remember in the clean, fresh air. And it seemed to her that morning as she ran, almost almost as the whole world had been made again. Is that again? Anew. Almost if the whole world was singing for joy, the trees, the tiny sounds of the grass, the birds, her heart. Was God really making everything sad come untrue? Was God making death come untrue? She couldn't wait to tell Jesus' friends. They wouldn't believe it. She laughed. She was right, of course.